dining room chandelier glimmers like false stars over a table set for betrayal. It's Mother's Day, and the air smells of overcooked roast and forced smiles. Rosemary sharp in my nose, mingling with the faint floral of Clara's perfume, that cloying jasmine that always makes my eyes water. My son, tall, broad in his tailored shirt, the one that costs more than my monthly grocery bill, leans back, fork midway to his mouth, and fixes me with that pitying gaze, the one that's equal parts condescension and calculation. "Mom," he says, voice smooth as the scotch he's nursing. "Do you like the $5,000 Clara gives you? You know, for your little expenses?" The words land like a slap, hot and stinging across my cheek, though his hand never moves. My fork freezes, peas tumbling silent onto the plate, the clink echoing in the hush. Clara, his wife, all sharp bob haircut and sharper heels, smirks behind her wine glass, her nails tapping a rhythm of triumph. Little expenses, as if the house I scrubbed floors to keep, the scholarships I skipped meals for, the decades of band-aids and bedtime stories weren't the foundation of his empire. My chest tightens, breath shallow, a coil of wire twisting under my ribs. Betrayal, raw and familiar. But this time it snaps something deeper. Not just pain, resolve, because they don't know. Not about the ledgers hidden in the attic, the investments that bloomed in silence while they plotted my downfall. Not about the will I rewrote last fall, the allies I've quietly gathered. This isn't the end of my story. It's the spark that burns their world to ash. If you've ever poured your soul into family only to have them spit in your face, hold tight. The turnaround? It's sweeter than vindication. It's obliteration. What's up, revenge seekers? If that gut punchline had you clenching your fists, imagining your own thanks for nothing moment, then you're in the right place. Hit that like button if family greed boils your blood. Subscribe and drop the bell for more tales where the overlooked rise up and rewrite the rules. Today we're unpacking a slow burn saga of sacrifice turned sabotage, where one widow's quiet fury flips the script on her ungrateful heirs. Buckle up. This 68-minute roller coaster of heartbreak and payback will leave you rooting for the underdog every twisted turn. Let's get into it. Let's pull back the curtain on this slow unraveling, because to feel the full weight of that Mother's Day gut punch, you need to see the threads that wove it. Decades of quiet devotion, frayed by greed's relentless tug. Picture me, well, her really, though in the telling she becomes us all. Eleanor Hayes, 78 now, but once a whirlwind of 20-something fire. Widowed at 42 when her husband, Frank, that gentle giant with calloused hands from the mill, collapsed from a heart attack mid-shift. No warning, just the phone ringing at dawn, operator's voice flat. "Mrs. Hayes, there's been an accident." The world tilted then, kitchen tile cold under stockinged feet as I sank, phone cord twisting like veins around my wrist. Frank gone. Our savings? A whisper. Enough for the funeral flowers wilting fast. But the kids. Oh, the kids were the anchor, the reason the sun clawed back over the horizon each morning. Twins, born a month after our 5th anniversary. Richard and Laura. Red-cheeked miracles with Frank's dimples and my stubborn chin. Richard, the golden boy, always. Tall even as a toddler, devouring books on finance while I stitched hems by lamplight. Laura, softer, artistic, with dreams of galleries that we papered over with practicality. I worked 3 jobs. Diner shifts where grease clung to my skin like regret. Night cleaning offices that echoed with my footsteps. Weekend sewing alterations in the basement, needle pricks a rhythm to lullabies hummed for empty rooms. "Mama's building your futures," I'd whisper to their sleeping forms, breath warm on foreheads, the scent of baby shampoo a balm against exhaustion's bite. Sacrifices? They piled like cordwood. College funds siphoned from my veins, skipped doctor visits, threadbare coats mended with fishing line, holidays where the tree was a potted pine from the yard. Richard aced Wharton on scholarships I badgered from counselors, interning summers while I covered his rent with tips folded crisp in envelopes. "You're going places, Ricky," I'd say, pressing a 20 into his palm, my smile masking the hollow in my belly from that skipped lunch. Laura, art school dropout after 1 semester. "Too flighty," Richard scoffed later, but I never judged. just held her through the tears, fabric soft under our cheeks as we dreamed aloud on the couch. The house, our Victorian fixer-upper on Maple Street, with its gingerbread trim peeling like old skin and roses rioting the yard, held it all. Frank and I bought it for a song in '68, mortgaged to the hilt, but paid off brick by brick with overtime sweat. It was sanctuary. Kitchen table scarred from family suppers, attic stuffed with holiday bins and forgotten toys, backyard swing where I'd push them higher, laughter bubbling like the creek nearby. By their 20s, I was empty nest proud. Richard climbing Wall Street ladders, Laura waitressing with sketches in her apron. Me? Still at the diner, arthritis nipping my knuckles, but content. "Proud of you, Mom," Richard would say on calls, voice tinny through the line. Lies, perhaps, but they warmed like weak tea. Then Clara entered, stage left, a viper in Louboutin. Richard met her at a gala, she the heiress to a pharma fortune, all porcelain skin and calculated laughs. "Darling, your mother's quaint," she'd coo on visits, eyeing the faded floral wallpaper like it offended. Wedding was lavish. My dress from the thrift altered twice while she dripped diamonds. Honeymoon in Capri, I house sat, watering plants that wilted in the heat. Grandkids followed. 2 boys, picture perfect, but visits? Scheduled like oil changes. "Busy week, Mom," Richard's texts read, emojis masking the distance. The cracks widened post-retirement. 65, I sold the sewing machine, last relic of side hustles, and cashed Frank's life insurance, a modest $150,000 nest egg tucked into low-yield bonds. "For your golden years," the advisor said, his tie too tight. But Richard? "Invest with me, Mom. I know markets." Trusting fool that I was, I handed over half $75,000 into his sure-thing fund. Returns trickled at first, then dried. "Market dip," he'd assure over coffee, his hand patting mine like a child's. Dips became droughts. By 70, that half vanished. Fees and volatility the excuse. My savings? Down to $40,000, the house equity my only shield. Powerlessness crept in slow, a fog over the mornings. Doctor visits alone, waiting room magazines curling in damp hands. Grocery runs where the cart wobbles empty. Choices narrowed to generics. Calls to Richard. "Could use a hand with the gutters, son." Silence, then Clara. "We're stretched, Eleanor. Charity starts at home." Stretched? His Porsche gleamed in LinkedIn photos. Her spa weekends hashtagged blessed. Underestimation stung. The woman who'd birthed his ambition reduced to afterthought. Disrespect? In the birthday cards with checks for $50, scrawled "Love RNC." Validation? A ghost, haunting the empty chairs at holidays. Escalation brewed in the fall of my 76th year. A fall, slippery porch steps, hip cracking like dry branch. Hospital sterile beeps a dirge. Richard arriving late in a suit reeking of boardroom cologne. "Mom, this place, it's too much for you." Clara nodded, clipboard in hand. Power of attorney form she'd found in my drawer. Wait, found? I'd signed nothing. But there it was, my signature forged wobbly, witnessed by her cousin. "For your safety," she purred, eyes not meeting mine. Safety? Or the house deed, appraised at $850,000 in the hot market, enough to fund their 3rd vacation home. Frustration built, a pressure cooker hiss. Discharged to rehab, a nursing home wing, linoleum floors echoing loneliness, meals on trays that congealed untouched. Visits? Sporadic. Richard. Works killer. Clara. The boys have soccer. My room? A shoebox with institutional green walls. The window framing a parking lot's gray expanse. Nights I'd trace Frank's photo with arthritic fingers, the frame's dust gritty under nails. They think I'm done. A burden to warehouse. Internal whisper. Venomous. Fight, Ellie. For the swing, the table, the you they forgot. But how? Frail bones, fading voice, powerless, the word a noose tightening. Turning point flickered in a library visit. Wheelchair-bound, but stubborn, I'd demanded the outing. Dusty volumes on estate law, pages whispering secrets, undue influence, elder abuse statutes, quiet trusts, a spark. Back in my room, I'd secreted a notebook, scribbling plans in code, letters looping tight like resolve. Allies. Laura, estranged but thawing. Her calls tentative. Mom? You okay? An old diner friend, Bess, retired paralegal with a grudge against entitled pups. We'll gut 'em. Ellie, she'd growl over smuggled tea, her laugh a rumble. Planning unfolded in shadows, tension coiling like bed springs. Short breaths in the dim, one slip, they win. Long vigils at the window, rain pattering like impatient fingers, plotting the unplot. Transfer the remaining $40,000 to a blind trust via Bess's nephew, a quiet attorney. House? Quit claim to irrevocable trust, beneficiaries shifted. Laura primary, charities secondary. Richard? A pittance, conditional on filial respect. Evidence? Hidden camera in the rehab common room, capturing Clara's hiss. Sign it, old woman, or we'll let the state take you. Snappy dialogue in my mind. Oh, honey, the state's not the monster here. But patience, venom chilled, served slow. Escalation roared back at Christmas. Forced family dinner in their McMansion, twinkle lights mocking the chill. Richard buzzed on eggnog, cornered me by the tree. Mom, the house, sell it. We found a spot, Sunrise Meadows, $3,000 a month, all inclusive. Inclusive? Of what, forgetting? Clara chimed. And the check? We'll handle it. $2,000 monthly. Generous. Generous. My nails bit palms. Crescents blooming red. The pine scent cloying as lies. Internal storm. They carved me hollow, now feast on the bones. No, I smiled, brittle. Generous indeed. Merry Christmas. Outward calm, inward quake. Determination hardening like frost. Spring thawed plots. Bess's nephew filed. Petition for guardianship reversal, citing fraud. Subpoenas landed like grenades. Clara's emails exposed, plotting competency hearing to declare me incapacitated. House flipped for their yacht fund. Richard's calls turned snide. Stirring trouble, Mom? Drop it. Family first. Family. The word curdled, hot bile rising. Threats escalated. Withheld allowance. Visits cut. Whispers to staff. She's delusional. Isolation clawed. Meals ash on tongue. Sleep fractured by doubts. Am I fighting phantoms? But the camera footage played on a smuggled tablet, her face snarling truth. Resolve. Iron now, unyielding. By summer, the suit ballooned. Depositions in sterile conference rooms, air humming AC chill. Richard deposed first, suit crisp, answers oily. Just concerned. Mom's forgetful. Forgetful? The man I'd quizzed on multiplication tables till midnight. My turn. Voice steady, eyes locked. Concerned enough to forge my name? To eye my home like a listing? Gasps from the court reporter, her pen scratching fury. Clara cracked next, under oath, her polish chipping. It was for her good. She's a liability. Liability. The disrespect. A fresh wound. Underestimation of the woman who'd birthed, bandaged, believed. Tension peaked pre-trial. Fall leaves skittering like fleeing secrets. Anonymous note slipped under door. Back off, or the boys hear Grandma's instability. Blackmail's tang, sour as fear. But I'd anticipated. Cops looped, restraining order filed. Richard's rage voicemail. You ungrateful hag. After all we've done? Done? The echo mocked. Planning climaxed. Assets frozen pending hearing. My trust ironclad. Sensory whirlwind. Coffee bitter on tongue during strategy huddles. Rain lashing windows like applause. Heart thumping a war drum. This for Frank. For the twins I raised right. For me. Hearing day dawned crisp. October sun slanting gold through courthouse blinds. I wheeled walked, cane thwacking marble like declaration, flanked by Bess and nephew, Laura at my side, her hand squeeze a lifeline. The room? Wood-paneled, air thick with polished oak and anxiety's musk. Judge Harlan, silver-haired, no nonsense, glasses perched like judgment, called order, gavel a crack. Richard and Clara opposite, her Botox smooth face taut, his jaw ticking like a bomb. Testimony unspooled. Experts on forgery, ink analysis damning. My footage projected, her snarl booming tinny. Sign it! Gallery murmurs swelled, sympathies tied, nods from strangers who'd felt kin's knife. Richard's cross. Mom, you're confused. Meds. Snappy retort mine. Confused? Like when I funded your sure thing that vanished? Flinch. His. The build. Frustration cresting. Audience hooked on the fairness fraying. Then my stand. Voice clear. Cane gripped white-knuckled. Your honors I sacrificed. Knight's health heart for them. And this? Not concern. Greed. Details poured. Ledgers produced. The lost $75,000 traced to their Cayman slush. Gasps. Clara bolted up. Lies! But the judge's brow furrowed, pen hovering. Hold the breath now. Because here's where the dam bursts. The courtroom a pressure vessel, air electric with held anticipation, the wooden benches creaking under shifting weights as souls lean in, hooked on the precipice. Judge Harlan adjusts his glasses, the lenses catching light like fractured ice, and clears his throat, a gravelly rumble that silences the last whisper. Ms. Hayes, he says, voice measured but edged. Your petition includes counterclaims, fraud, embezzlement. Shall we proceed? Counterclaims. The word hangs, a guillotine blade glinting. Richard shifts, his wingtip shoes scuffing the floor. A small betrayal of nerves, his tie suddenly too tight, Adam's apple bobbing like a man swallowing glass. Clara's hand clamps his knee under the table, nails digging visible through fabric, her lips a bloodless line. I meet their eyes, slow, deliberate, my cane's tip tapping once, a heartbeat echo. Internal thunder, this is it. Not anger, justice, earned in sweat and silence. The nephew rises, briefcase snapping open like a predator's maw. Your Honor, Exhibits 17 through 24, Financial Forensics. Screens flicker alive, bank trails glowing green, arrows tracing my $75,000 from modest account to their offshore veil, then blooming into yacht payments, spa retreats, embezzled under guise of investment advice. Undue influence on a grieving widow. Grieving. The word pierces. Flash of Frank's empty chair. The mill whistles wail on that dawn. Gallery inhales sharp. A woman's tissue crinkles nearby. Empathy's quiet sob. Richard lunges half up. Objection. Speculation. But his voice cracks. High, boyish, the golden facade splintering. Judge's gavel raps, sharp, unyielding. Sustained? No. Sit, Mr. Hayes. Sit. The command lands heavy, his descent a slump, shoulders rounding like defeat's hunch. Clara hisses sidebar, whispered fury, her bob swinging like a pendulum of panic. Fix this, Rich. But he can't. The evidence mounts, unassailable, each slide a nail in their coffin. My testimony seals it, rising unsteadied but fierce, cane aside, hands splayed on the rail, wood cool and grounding under palms slick with vindication sweat. They called it charity. $5,000 drops, like alms to a beggar. But this house, my blood, my bones. Forged papers to steal it, whispers to warehouse me. For what? Their comfort. Voice rises, not shrill but resonant, carrying the ache of skipped meals, the loneliness of green-walled nights. I built them. They broke me. No more. The room tilts. Reporters' flashes pop like celebratory gunfire. The bailiff's stance shifts protective. Richard's face? A slow-motion crumble, color draining to ashen, eyes darting mole-like, mouth agape in a silent no. Clara. Fury first, standing abrupt, chair screeching protest, then horror as realization dawns. The trust docs projected next, my wills rewrite, assets rerouted. You bitch, she mouths, venom pure, but the judge's glare pins her. Counselor, decorum. Decorum, the irony. Her empire of poise, toppling. Climax crests with the ruling. Harlan leans forward, robes whispering judgment. Petition granted. Guardianship dissolved. Counterclaims upheld. Restitution ordered. $250,000 treble damages, plus punitive. House title restored. And Mr. Hayes, Ms. Ellis Hayes. Restraining order. Effective immediate. Court adjourned. Adjourned. The gavel falls. Boom, final as thunder, and chaos erupts. Shouts from their side. Clara's sob choked wet. Richard's plea. Mom, Eleanor, wait. But I turn, slow, Kane reclaimed, Laura's arm my pillar. His lunge across the bar, desperate, tie flapping like surrender, meets bailiff's wall. Back. Cuffs? Not yet, but the DA's card slips into my hand post-hearing, elder abuse charges pending. Outside, autumn wind whips leaves like confetti, sun warm on my face. First true warmth in years. Their reaction? Priceless. Richard on the steps, dialing frantic. Lawyers. Senators? Voice breaking. It's gone. All gone. Clara collapses against him, heels buckling. Mascara rivers carving humiliation. Shocked, utterly eyes wide on the woman they dismissed, now towering in quiet triumph. Emotional release crashes then. Private in the cab home. Tears hot, unchecked. Soaking the locket with Frank's photo. Its chain cool against fevered skin. Relief floods, chest uncoiling. Breaths deep, the hollow filled not with gold but validation. I am seen. Fierce, whole. Triumph whispers, not destruction, but rebirth. The house waits, porch swing creaking welcome, roses defiant. Laura's hug at the door. You did it, Mom. Yes, for us. Their fallout? Swift karma's kiss. By week's end, headlines whisper, Wall Street scion, sued by own mother, embezzlement alleged. Firm severs ties, clients flee, the Porsche repossessed mid-drive. Begging calls, Richard's voicemail, voice small. Mom, please. We can fix. Deleted. Clara's texts. Talk? Ignored. The 5,000? Redirected to my charity. Scholarships for single moms. Full circle sting. Damn. Doesn't it just reaffirm that justice, when it simmers long enough, tastes like the sweetest reckoning? Greed blinds, but resilience, it illuminates. What's the lesson here? Blood's no shield for betrayal, or that the quiet ones hold the real power. Chew on that. Life's too short for ungrateful shadows. If Eleanor's stand had you pumping fists or wiping eyes, smash that like if underdog wins are your catnip, and flood the comments. What's the most epic family fix you've seen or survived? Spill, I devour 'em. Subscribe for more Reddit rages turned redemptions. Bell on so the next soul-stirring saga hits your feed fresh. Thanks for sharing this ride. Catch you next time. Stay fierce.